history is temporal in nature, whereas geography is spatial in nature. And together, history and geography fill up our perception.
And I often find that the temples are so glorious with beautiful, marvelous use of big stone blocks. No?
Yes.
Sir, how would you say how geography has shaped this type of temple architecture in South India, Dravidian architecture, sir?
Ramayana and Mahabharata effectively represent two different directional pathways. Okay, where Ramayana is aligned along north-south axis, whereas Mahabharata is aligned along east-west axis.
East and west.
And this is
And sir, it is said that when he sold back the things that he bought in India, Vasco da Gama, he sold that back into Portugal there in 60 times more price than what he paid here in India. That amazed the rulers there, and that started.
Hello, Gajanan sir.
Hello, Inderjeet sir.
Welcome to Bariar IAS Academy.
Thank you so much, sir.
Our podcast series Contemplations.
Thank you, sir.
And I would like to take this opportunity to discuss with you a very interesting aspect, which is interdisciplinary aspect, that is history and geography.
Oh, truly, sir.
So when we say history and geography, right there from the beginning times, okay, very general basic assumption is that history and geography complement each other.
True,
And
sir.
the idea has been that if history is a temporal science, if I should call it a science, history is temporal in nature, whereas geography is spatial in nature. And together, history and geography fill up our perception.
True, sir.
So it would be very interesting now to discuss today how has geography of different regions shaped the history of that region.
Truly, sir. First of all, it's amazing a topic that you have picked, and I'm very amazed. Often UPSC keeps asking question on this. R.S. Sharma book is a very simple book. R.S. Sharma was excellent historian, and R.S. Sharma says that earlier every historian was also a geographer.
Absolutely.
And the geographers were historians. Basically, history and geography, they were not segregated parts. So in that time, we would be training the candidate together,
Yes.
sir, no? You
Definitely.
for geography and I for history, no?
Definitely.
Then, again, if you talk about how geography has had the impact on history and things like that, your institute is here in Koramangala in Bangalore in such a prime place, but we find very distinctive a culture here, no? The South Indian culture is so distinct. A different dressing style is there, a different food style is there,
Absolutely.
different languages are there, Dravidian languages. The Vindhya range would create a barrier between north and south, and from three sides South India is surrounded by sea, so it's quite isolated. It has emerged as a cultural unit, having very distinctive unit. No, is this not?
Yes, definitely. So as I have read,
Yes.
and correct me if I am wrong, Vindhyas and Satpuras effectively were not just a physical barrier with respect to the invasions that in fact happened in India from northwest, but also acted as a cultural barrier.
True, sir. Entirely a distinct culture has emerged, sir. But then I always wonder, sir, when you talk about Dravidian architecture, and I often find that the temples are so glorious with beautiful, marvelous use of big stone blocks, no?
Yes.
Sir, how would you say how geography has shaped this type of temple architecture in South India, Dravidian architecture, sir?
It has been mostly about the type of rocks, let's say, we find over here. And very interesting to correlate actually, where overall peninsular India, if we see, or the Deccan Plateau formation, that has been formed from the outflow of lava. And so what we find over here are basically and predominantly the igneous rocks.
True.
And which can be taken in the form of large slabs. And these slabs still remain intact and provide that strength to the building.
True,
So
sir.
the one that you are saying in the temple architecture also, we very clearly see the difference between the temple architecture of North India and South India in terms of construction. The same, large stone slabs would be used over here, which gives a different grandeur to the
Correctly.
temple structure.
Dravidian architecture, that's why it looks very different from Nagara style of temple architecture. And it's amazing in its own way. There's no doubt about this.
Absolutely.
And sir, once UPSC asked the question that why all the major battles in India, they have been there in Panipat.
Yes.
And why they have been able to change the empires in India, how they were so history, important battles in Panipat, sir. As a geography teacher, you can actually explain this much better in a way, the history part, no? And that shows the interdisciplinary nature of the subject as well. So how to answer if a general candidate is trying to approach this question, sir?
So for this, we'll have to understand basically the topography part
Anji.
of the region that is Northwest India. And topographically, if we see, first of all, that has been the route for the invasion, primarily because there are convenient passes in the Himalayas only through that region. So that has been one of the very prominent and almost a constant path for invasion into India. Secondly, another barrier that came up once you have crossed the passes and all would have been, I would say, the rivers.
True.
So the Indus River system, which would be flowing over there, okay, that was a point where I possibly have read in some history books about the events taking place over there, where one Indian army would be waiting on this side of the river, and Alexander's army would be waiting on that side of the river. Okay, but that was the one of the last barrier.
Yes.
And once it was crossed, you enter into the plain area, and that is where you find this Panipat.
True, sir.
So that became a prominent plain area, I would say. The first plain area after crossing all these two barriers, which would be the Himalayan barrier and the river barrier, produced by the Indus River system. And that's why it was the frontier. I would say it was the frontier for the kingdoms of India. And so very obvious, all the wars were fought over there in Panipat.
True, sir. And Panipat is a plain area, so it was easier for the heavy army to fight.
Absolutely.
Indian side of army was always heavier compared to the aggressors who would come to India.
Correct.
Coming up with faster cavalry. So it was easier to fight in that
Yes.
area, sir. And when you talked about this much, certainly one major battle was there in times of Alexander. That was the Battle of Hydaspes or the Battle of Jhelum. That was there.
Yes.
That was the major battle between Alexander and Porus. That was famous battle. But that also reminds me something, that Northwest, when it gives the way to come to India, it is just not something that has given aggression to India. It has also something that has given a very synthesis of culture.
Definitely.
In Northwest.
Definitely.
Like you move towards Punjab, Pakistan and Afghanistan, you find that the cultures would start showing you like the people having like turban, pagdi, no, having sherwani.
Yes.
All that came up with the Shakas and Kushanas in India, interestingly, and they all came from northwest part of India. No, sir?
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, with this correlation, when we are correlating it, I have read a very interesting fact about, in fact, the pathways that were created with respect to our epics, that is Ramayana and Mahabharata. So it has been contemplated. Nobody knows what the author was thinking at that time. But it has been contemplated that Ramayana and Mahabharata effectively represent two different directional pathways. Okay, where Ramayana is aligned along north-south axis, whereas Mahabharata is aligned along east-west axis.
East and west.
And this is precisely what connectivity right now is all about.
Truly,
Okay, when we are talking about the highway networks in India, we are talking about north-south corridor, east-west corridor, and somewhere along the same corridor lines, okay, all the sites in these epics are located.
They are located. Truly,
So
sir. It's amazing to know that, sir.
historically, there must have been some significance of these regions.
True, sir. True. And certainly, sir has given me like enough food for thinking overnight over all these things, like historic things like Ramayana and Mahabharata, the geographic connectivity and the things like that. Like, sir is teaching history, but I'm learning good like sir is teaching geography, but I'm learning very good history from Indrajit, sir. Good to know. More than that, when you talk about like when I came here to take classes with like sir's institute, certainly it's amazing to see like a very peculiar culture, South Indian culture that would always impress, no? It is looking like gold. It's a culture here in India. It is probably looking like because of its geographic impact, because of which culture like gold, because of the coastal area, sir, like R.S. Sharma says, the trade with Roman Empire was excellent and so much of gold coins would be brought into India.
Absolutely.
From ancient time period. And certainly you will find that because of that, India became almost a sink, particularly South India, a sink for gold and silver, like precious metals. Certainly gold would become a culture here in South
Definitely.
India. Sir, how you think that this spice trade in India? No? How it would connect with history in India, sir?
The spice trade. So if we see spice trade, basically right there is starting from. I would start it right there from when the Europeans first landed in India. So Europeans first landing into India, rather they started effectively in search of spices, gold. Okay, that was the first journey. And from there, when it flourished, in fact, I am reminded that when Vasco da Gama landed over here in India, okay, he found already Arabian traders were present here. And they had good trade already going on with South India. But then he came up with something, okay, talk to the king and all of that. There was a short battle which was fought. And at that time only he took control of that particular part. And you can we can think of the significance of the spice trade, that when he went back and reported it back to Portugal king,
Yes. It is said that
it
60
was the
times.
start. Yes, it was the start of colonization period of India.
Yes.
So definitely.
And sir, it is said that when he sold back the things that he bought in India, Vasco da Gama, he sold that back into Portugal there in 60 times more price than what he paid here in India. That amazed the rulers there. And that
Absolutely.
started a new wave of colonization, basically.
And I would like to share one interesting fact about this, that when Vasco da Gama was sailing, they were caught in a furious storm. And they absolutely didn't knew where they were heading and all. And when the storm subsided, somehow by chance, they had crossed Cape of Good Hope.
Yes.
So this was completely accidental, but yet now with all this maritime journeys and the quest for finding a maritime route to X place, Y place, this was a geographical exploration to see. But this one path that was found to India, that opened the wave
Truly,
of
sir.
colonization in India.
And sir, I would add there, sir, that it was the accident of that like storm that took him to this path. Before that, Bartholomew Diaz found the route up to Cape of Good Hope.
Yes.
After that, it was completely accidental, a chance. And after that, it was completely a coincidence that one Indian sailor was there, Abdul Majid,
Absolutely.
who took Vasco da Gama from Madagascar to India.
To India.
And that gave the discovery of the new sea route towards India. It was amazing. No, sir?
So definitely, yes, geographical discoveries have led to historical events. And definitely it was enlightening actually. And very interesting to talk about the correlationship between history and geography as
sir.
such.
So far we were just learning that history and geography, they are very like interdisciplinary subject, much connected with each other. But now talking to like Inderjeet sir about the subject, I feel that I can teach history much better in a way when I get more geography knowledge from Inderjeet sir.
And the same goes with me teaching
And I'm truly
geography.
grateful for this talk with Inderjeet sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Gajan sir, for being part of this discussion.
Thank you so much, Inderjeet sir.